Okay, good afternoon, everyone. It's hard to believe it's Thursday. It still feels like Sunday or Monday, or I don't know what day it is, but post Yantif, Gmar Chatima Tova to everybody, and I hope you had a nice Yantif and everybody is doing well. I'm going to do a Rashi on our short Parsha, um, short week and short Parsha. I apologize actually about the Erev Yantif mishap. I know some of you were on waiting on Erev Yantif, and I apologize. I didn't realize they had put it on the schedule to be on that day, and I didn't realize that we were having it. So I apologize for that, but glad to be back here today. The beginning of the parsha, and very very short parsha, as I said, Moshe Rabbeinu starts his last speech to the Jewish people, really the final segment of the last speech of the Jewish people in the last day of his life. And he opens up by reflecting on the fact that he's not going to be able to continue in his mission. I'm 120 years old today. I'm not going to be able to go out and to come in. And Hashem told me I'm not going to be able to cross the Yarden. And therefore, he goes in to give them the message about what's going to happen to them, etc., and about the appointment of Yoshua, the mitzvah of Hakel, which we'll get to as well. But I'm fascinated by the first pasuk here. 120 years old, I'm not going to be able to go and to come. Rashi says, "Lo uchal od latzeit v'lavo yachol shetashash kocho." What's the reason behind this? Why is Moshe Rabbeinu sharing that he's not going to be able to continue in his mission? Is it possible that because is it because he's 120 years old, he's weak, he's tired, he's incapable of going on because of old age? Can't be. Talmud lomar lo kasa eno v'lo nas lecho. The final parsha of the Torah tells us, Moshe ben Mea v'esrim shana b'moso. It tells us in Vizos Bracha, Moshe Rabbeinu was 120 years old when he died. Lo kasa eno v'lo nas lecho. He didn't lose any of his vigor. He didn't lose any of his strength. He had as much strength as he ever had. He was able to go on. It wasn't a matter of old age. When he died, he was perfectly capable of going forward. So that can't be the reason why over here Moshe Rabbeinu is saying, Lo uchal latzeit v'lavo. Ela mahu. What must it be that's preventing him from going forward? Lo uchal. Those words are very important here. It doesn't say, not capable. It doesn't say I don't have the strength. It says lo uchal, I can't. I can means Eini Rashai. I'm not allowed. I can, but I'm not allowed. Because Hashem took the permission away from me and he granted it to Yoshua. So Luchal is not that I can't, but that I won't, that I'm not capable of it because HaKadosh Baruch Hu told me not to. And I think there's something, first of all, that is reinforced already in the end of the pasuk. That should have been obvious to us. What I guess the Havamina was in Rashi, the original thought in Rashi, perhaps saying that Anochi lo latzeit v'lavo is about strength, it's about old age, would read the end of the pasuk as V'Hashem amar elai lo tavar zeh, and in addition to that, God told me not to cross the Yarden. But since we know the first part of the pasuk, even though he mentions he's 120 years old, it's not about old age, it's not about loss of strength, it's about God's edict. Now, the second half of the pasuk is not a second reason, but a reinforcement of the first half. And after all, I'm 120 years old. I can't go back and I can't come because God has an edict against me. And after all, as we know, Hashem amar elai lo tavar zeh. God commanded me not to cross the Yarden. Hashem amar elai zeu perush lo uchal od latzeit v'lavo. This second half of the pasuk is the perush. It's the explanation of lo uchal od latzeit v'lavo, the first half of the pasuk. Hashem elai lo tavar zeh, because God told me not to cross the Yarden. It's a very, very important pasuk. I think what it highlights is Moshe Rabbeinu's tremendous faith in Hashem. There could have been many reasons why he cites this at the beginning of his speech, but really what he's saying to Jewish people at the end of the day is, I accept my edict. I accept Gzeras HaMelech. I accept what Hashem is telling me. You might have thought maybe Parshas Vayeschanan, a couple of weeks back, Moshe Rabbeinu is pleading with God to let him in, to reverse the decree. He davens to him 101 times and 400 times, and he just keeps asking and asking. You might think he was disappointed. Maybe he was disappointed. But you might think he's angry. You might think he doesn't accept it. You might think he's not willing to go along with it. So he begins this final day of his life. He begins this final speech by saying, no, I accept it. Lo chal od latzeit v'lavo. God told me I can't go. I accept it. I accept the eating. Something very hard for us to do as human beings, especially when we see things differently than Hashem, especially when we think it's not fair, especially when we think we deserve differently. It's very easy to not accept it. And there are times when we're supposed to not accept it. You're supposed to daven with all your strength to likra ra gzar dinam, like we've been saying the last couple of days on our Rosh Hashanah davening. And yes, we always should daven, even at the final moment. Even the last possible moment, even the sword is on your neck, never supposed to prevent yourself from asking for God's mercy. We have to believe God is capable of everything. We have to believe God can reverse the gzar din. In the end of the day, when it's actually happening, we have to be able to accept it as well. It's a difficult balance between those two things, but in the end of the day, I think Moshe Rabbeinu shows us that very beautifully. It's the balance between Vayelech and Parshas Vayelech, where he both davens to reverse it, but also accept it once it becomes a reality. Hopefully, all of our gzar din should be good ones and wonderful ones in the years to come. Take care, everybody, and have a great day.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you.
Rabbi,
Gemer Tov. Gemer.
Gemer Tov.